Okay. Well, one of the hardest things that I found while my children have been at boarding school is that some of the classroom teachers don't know which students in their class are day students and which students are full-time boarding students. So especially with kids in year 7 or year 8, the boarding kids are at a disadvantage in that sort of circumstances if they're asked to do a project or something like that. The day kids are going home and getting help from home, but the kids in the boarding house don't have that same access to being able to go to the newsagent and buy resources and so forth. So I've always hoped, but never quite got there, that there would be something on the classroom roll that would identify which kids are the boarders, especially in those early years of boarding school.
Okay, so some advice I would give to boarding staff. Basically, you need to treat each of the children as individuals. They've all got their own little ways of thinking and they need to be accepted into a group as an individual child and respected for that. Also, if there's any bullying or that sort of thing, don't keep it in-house. Get it out there, get it to the mainstream school. We had one situation where some children, and it wasn't just one in particular child being bullied, but there was a group of children being bullied and they tried to keep it in-house, and it wasn't until the children started sending individual emails back to their respective parents and then the parents forwarded them on to like the mainstream school and the principal and the head of the senior studies, that the issue was really trodden on, and I think it should have been dealt with a lot earlier than it actually was. So that's probably the biggest thing. No tolerance for the bullying and just treat the kids as individuals and respect them for that.
And one of the other issues that I think is really difficult for country children is you have a child coming from a tiny little country school where there's been no art teacher, no music teacher, no drama teacher and no language teacher, and these kids are coming into a big city boarding school, and obviously they're going to feel at a disadvantage vis-a-vis the day kids who've been having music teachers, language teachers, art teachers all the way through their primary school years. And I just feel that some boarding schools that I've been associated with don't quite understand that the country kids really need a little bit more help and a little bit more confidence building in those areas that are outside the 3 R's when they first start boarding school.
Just to keep the lines open, communication is really important. Even though the girls are communicating, sometimes they might be communicating a different story than what's really going on. And so it's great if the boarding staff or any of the staff at the school can communicate with us either by email or telephone to let us know what's going on, if there's a problem, or even if they want to tell us something great that one of the kids has done. So I think, yeah, communication is a big thing.
Yeah, I know they've got a huge job and they've always got lots and lots of children to look after, and each child has different requests and different issues. But sometimes it's just the little things, you know, making sure that for the younger ones who haven't experienced being away from home, but just that they're aware that, you know, the washing, you know, takes a certain amount of days to go and to come back, and more importantly that they've got something, you know, to wear and things like that. Sometimes I've experienced when my child is obviously extremely happy, he tends not to communicate with home. So just for the staff, sometimes to say to the children, you know, have you contacted home lately?
Another issue that I think is really hard when you first start as a boarding parent is just trying to find out what goes on at the school and who you ask and how you ask and whether you should use email or whatever, and I think that's one of the hardest things. Eventually, obviously, you work out that email is always the best way to find out about everything, but initially I think would be a great help if you were given a little bit of a talk when you first start as a boarding parent about those unknowns when you first hit the school. And the other thing is, The other thing that I found really hard initially was how to find ways of meeting and getting to know other parents and other families who are the families of your son or daughter's friends. That's always an issue starting off. Obviously you eventually make great friends, but I think the boarding schools can play a big role in helping facilitate families to meet one another. I think that would make things much easier.